Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are unpacking an incredibly specific, absolutely fascinating piece of civic engineering. We're looking at exactly how the royal government of Bhutan built its entire road safety and transport hierarchy from the ground up, right at the turn of the millennium. We're going straight to the source, the foundational document that set the rules of the road for an entire nation, the Road Safety and Transport Act of 1999. And don't worry, we've distilled all the heavy legal jargon into a clear, structured journey for you. Okay, let's dive right into this. You'll notice the royal crest of the government of Bhutan, which establishes the official, very governmental nature of the text we're breaking down today. We are dealing with a dense 80-section legislative document. It's an expansive piece of law designed to bring order, safety, and efficiency to literally every highway, commercial bus, and taxi in the country. To make this easy to digest, we've taken this massive document and grouped it into 5 intuitive buckets. We'll cover 1. The Transport Authority, 2. Rules of the Road, 3. Commercial and heavy transport, 4. Insurance and compensation, and finally, 5. Offenses and penalties.
Kicking things off with Section 1, the Transport Authority, establishing the rules. Because, before you can actually enforce any rules, somebody has to make them, right? The 1999 Act formally established the Road Safety and Transport Authority, or the RSTA, operating within the Ministry of Communications. This governing body was given sweeping powers to oversee all civilian and commercial transit. We're talking about everything from developing road safety education to setting strict vehicle standards, all the way to managing the entire driver licensing system across the whole country. Now, what's really brilliant about how the authority handles rule-breaking is the standardized system they created called the penalty unit. This is the base metric for all fines, and it's mathematically defined as 50 Bhutanese ngultrum per unit. This means the entire act relies on this one central metric. If the authority ever needs to adjust for inflation down the line, they don't have to rewrite the laws. They just change the value of that one unit, and the whole system updates automatically. It's so efficient. Keep that 50 ngultrum number in mind because it's going to be very important later on. Moving right along to Section 2, Rules of the Road, Safety, Speed, and Licensing. 0.08. That right there is the strict blood alcohol limit measured in grams per 100 milliliters before a standard driver is heavily penalized. It is a hard, fast, unyielding line drawn in the sand for civilian drivers. But, and this is crucial, if you hold a learner's permit or if you drive a taxi or a heavy vehicle, that limit drops to absolute 0. No wiggle room whatsoever. Any alcohol at all is an offense. 50. That's your next data anchor. In the Kingdom of Bhutan, 50 kilometers per hour is the default maximum speed limit on any highway where there are no specific speed signs posted. It's basically a blanket rule designed to keep speeds manageable and roads safe, universally applied across the country. So who actually gets to drive on these roads? The Act contrasts 2 main tiers of civilian licensing. For a standard driver license, you've got to be at least 18 years old and have held a learner's permit for a minimum of 6 months. But look at the instructor license. Teaching others to drive is treated as a highly regulated profession. To get this license, the minimum age jumps all the way to 25. The government clearly wants to ensure that the people teaching the next generation of drivers have a significant amount of maturity and real-world experience. Beyond just your age and how fast you're going, the Act explicitly outlines the general duty of drivers. You must avoid accidents at all costs, ensure your vehicle is safe and serviceable, obey all traffic signs, and comply with authorized persons like police officers. Oh, and here's a huge one. You must produce your license on demand. If a police officer asks to see your license and you don't have it on you, bam, that failure instantly costs you 5 penalty units. Let's move to Section 3 and see how this builds into commercial and heavy transport, managing the big rigs. Now, the law definitely doesn't treat a standard family car the same as a massive transport bus. A light vehicle seats up to 12 adults and weighs a maximum of 3 tons. Contrast that with a heavy vehicle, which is anything over 10 tons in gross weight, or a commercial bus seating more than 25 adults. The second a vehicle crosses into that heavy category, the rulebook gets significantly thicker. For these commercial operators, safety is absolutely paramount. The Act enforces mandatory commercial licenses, and not just for the drivers. Conductors need their own specific certificates too. Furthermore, heavy vehicle drivers are required by law to maintain strict logbooks. They have to track their journeys and their driving hours, and police can inspect these at any time. It's all about preventing driver fatigue. And to protect the consumers, all fares and rates are strictly set and monitored by the authority. But what happens when these rules fail and an accident actually occurs?
Which brings us to Section 4, Insurance and Compensation, the safety net.
The 1999 Act actually hard-coded a really specific standardized compensation framework for victims of commercial transport accidents. The nearest relative of a deceased victim is mandated to receive NOSL 20,000. For a deceased child under 5, it's NOSL 10,000. In cases of total disability, the compensation is set at NOSL 30,000, and an injured passenger receives up to NOSL 10,000 depending on the severity. It is an incredibly structured, unambiguous system of civic responsibility.
But what's truly remarkable here is the sheer speed at which this net deploys. The Act legally requires the insurer to pay out this compensation within 72 hours of being notified of the accident. And if they drag their feet, the insurer faces a staggering 10% daily penalty on the delayed payment. Seriously, 10% every single day they're late. This ensures victims are absolutely not left waiting during a crisis. And I think this perfectly illustrates the ethos behind the law. The Act explicitly states, whether a person dies, becomes disabled, or sustains injury due to his own carelessness or otherwise, shall receive compensation. The law guarantees basic compensation regardless of fault. Even if the passenger was somehow careless, that strong civic safety net is deployed first and foremost. Now, we've seen the rules, so let's explore the consequences of breaking them.
Our final pillar, Section 5, Offenses and Penalties, when things go wrong. Dealing with a traffic ticket in Bhutan follows a super straightforward 3-step life cycle. Step 1. A transport infringement notice is issued by an authorized person or police officer. Step 2. You must pay that fine within exactly 7 days at a designated office. Step 3. If you believe you were wrongly ticketed, you have the option to formally appeal the notice to the court, but again, you have to do so within that strict 7-day window. Very cut and dry. So the crucial point is how these penalties actually add up. Let's look back at our penalty units. Driving without a license hits you with a massive 25 penalty units. Teaching someone to drive for a fee without an instructor license, that's 20 units. Overloading a commercial vehicle, another 20 units. Remember our math from earlier? 1 unit is new 50. So a 25-unit fine is new 1,250. Back in 1999, that was a highly serious financial hit, explicitly designed to act as a major deterrent. But some offenses go way beyond just a financial slap on the wrist. The Act highlights severe violations, having a blood alcohol level exceeding that 0.08 limit, dangerous or culpable driving, ignoring a direct police order to offload an overloaded vehicle, or operating an unsafe commercial passenger vehicle that ends up causing serious injury. Commit any of these offenses, and it triggers an automatic license cancellation of at least 6 months, alongside heavy fines and potential jail time. The safety of the public absolutely outweighs the privilege of driving. Which brings us to the end of our breakdown. So I'm really curious, how do your local traffic laws compare to all this? How do they stack up against the structured 72-hour compensation payouts, the strict logbook requirements for heavy vehicles, or those unique inflation-proof penalty units of Bhutan's 1999 Act? It's just fascinating to see how different nations engineer civic safety from the ground up. I hope this explainer has sparked your curiosity to look a little closer at the rules governing your own roads. Thank you so much for learning with us today.